The Raiders are facing a major problem, and honestly, I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it. I really don't. And after watching today's segment on SportsCenter, it hit me just how precarious their situation really is. We had the analysts break it down in a way that, if you're a Raiders fan, it's both alarming and painfully clear. The team is walking a razor-thin line, and right now, that line is dangerously close to tipping into irrelevancy. That's the major problem. It's not just the X's and O's, though there are plenty of those too. It's deeper. It's the combination of coaching, personnel, execution, and the glaring holes that have plagued this franchise for years. And now, those old habits, the chaos, the inconsistency that Raiders fans have grown to expect, are starting to creep back in. The show highlighted this perfectly by pointing out the contrast between the hope that was built up in the off-season and training camp versus what we've actually seen on the field. There was supposed to be a sense of competition, a sense of readiness, a sense that the Raiders could punch back no matter the situation. Yet, through the first 3 weeks, that hasn't materialized. That loss to the Commanders on Sunday was the perfect example of this razor-thin margin. They have the talent to compete, but the execution simply hasn't been there. And when you combine that with the glaring deficiencies in the offensive line and the inconsistency at key positions, it's easy to see why skepticism is skyrocketing. If you're following along and you want to stay up to date with all my takes, the breakdowns, and everything happening with the Raiders, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Join the conversation, join the Raiders OG fan family, and stay locked in, because we're going to be covering every play, every decision, and every development as it happens this season. SportsCenter analysts didn't hold back when discussing this. They emphasized that this isn't just about one game or one quarterback. It's systemic. The Raiders have fundamental issues that need fixing immediately, or else they risk sliding into the same chaos and irrelevance that has defined much of their history over the last 2 decades. And it's not just about losing games, it's about the perception of the team, the morale, the fan base, and the ability to compete week in and week out. That's the dangerous part of walking this fine line. Once you start losing identity and credibility, it snowballs. Geno Smith was a major focus of the segment. Analysts pointed out, and I agree, that he's been put in a tough spot. 4 interceptions over 2 games is alarming, no doubt, but it's also clear that some of this is not entirely his fault. The team hasn't provided the protection, the talent, or the structure for him to truly thrive. And that has been an ongoing problem for the Raiders. This inability to protect the quarterback, to build a consistent offensive line, and to put players in positions to succeed. That blueprint has been missing, not just this year, but in previous years as well. SportsCenter really drove home the point that without fixing these foundational issues, even a talented quarterback can struggle. And unfortunately, that reflects poorly on the team as a whole. Then there's the leadership discussion. Max Crosby was highlighted as a beacon of hope, an anchor who can turn focus around, rally the locker room, and set the tone for accountability. Analysts emphasize that veteran leadership is going to be critical for the Raiders to right the ship. Crosby has the heart and soul of this team on the defensive side, and if the culture is going to shift, it starts with guys like him holding everyone accountable and setting the example. The segment wrapped up with a clear message. This is not a lost season yet, but the margin for error is razor thin. The Raiders have a favorable stretch ahead, but if they fail to capitalize on it, they could very easily find themselves staring at a season that spirals out of control. Chicago is next, and SportsCenter made it very clear that this is their chance to flip the narrative. Win in Las Vegas, erase the memory of the Commanders' loss, and maybe, just maybe, start turning this season in the right direction. But it starts with execution. It starts with fundamentals. And it starts with the Raiders proving that they can be relevant again, not just in results, but in identity, in culture, and in performance. If you're a Raiders fan watching this unfold, it's tough. But the analysts were also careful to remind viewers that hope isn't lost. There's talent on this roster. There's leadership. There's potential. It's all about whether the team can pull it together, execute, and show that they belong on that field week after week. That's the story SportsCenter told, and that's what I want us all to take away. The Raiders have a problem. A big one, but it's not unsolvable. The next few weeks will tell the tale, and we'll be watching every snap to see if they can turn this narrative around.